think that when people, I think we're really prone to believe that that things are isolated, right? Like that things are their own island, or that when you go through something terrible, you can get past it, or you can. It's like it has a definitive end and a definitive beginning, but that's not always true, right? And I think that when we displace communities, it has this ripple effect that goes on for generations and generations. And one of those effects, I think, in the book particularly, is the loss of language. We have, we have an initial displaced population raising children in a different country, speaking a different language, and they're not going to remember that language in the same way as their parents are. And it's not to say that that's good or bad, but it does create strain between the generations because they can't communicate. And then, if we go farther down the line, if we were to go past, Nee, Track and True's storyline in the beginning of the book, if we were to go to their children, they might not speak the language at all. They might not have any memory of speaking Vietnamese in the home because their parents aren't fluent, right? And so in just 2 generations, you have the complete disappearance of a family language, of a cultural, a tie to a culture that is based in actual literal distance from the geographical space. That is one of the traumas from displacement. And the other related to language, another trauma related to language, is that not only do we have kind of a disappearance of it, but for Xuân, for example, she's grown up speaking Vietnamese. That is her native tongue. When she moves out of Vietnam into the US, the version of her Vietnamese is going to remain the same, or it's going to develop in a particular way. And whatever they speak in Vietnam is going to be completely different. It's going to continue to grow and evolve. It's going to change outside of her. She's not going to be a part of that. And again, not to say that it's inherently good or bad that language changes, but rather that the effect that that has on Xuân as a person who ties her identity to Vietnam as a place, that's very painful to realize that, like, you no longer have that tie. The way that you speak is no longer reflective of the space that you came from. So yeah, language is a really big one, and I think when we talk about words, we think about them in a very abstract way, but actually language and words are very much tied to physical things, to entire cultures, to the food that we make, to the relationships that we establish, to all of those things. So yeah, it's definitely, there's lots of different ripple effects, like, generational wealth, for example. They leave everything behind and they have to start from scratch, so you have to start from zero essentially, and building the ability to pass money down to your kids in order for them to make better lives for themselves. And so there's all kinds of like cyclical there's all kinds of cycles of poverty that are related to this. And yeah, we really should think about that when we think about not just displacing internationally different communities through war and conflict, but also like displaced communities in the US as well. When you raise an entire neighborhood to build a condo, or when you scatter someone, a community, because you're building a highway, it really does affect the way that people build community and identity.